Would you like to visit the Antarctica? Would you like to visit Antarctica?
No.
Why not?
It's too cold and too dangerous.
So you're a chicken.
Sure, but not a frozen chicken.
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig, and we're starting a new series of 4. We finished our last one, and this time, we've done this one before, but it's been a couple of years, so we're diving into sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
And we're starting with a classic, John Carpenter's The Thing. Basic premise, there's a thing. How did I know you were going to say that? And you knew I was going to say that. A group goes to Antarctica to study and learn all they can from penguins or whatever.
No.
And while they're there, they find aliens.
Close.
I mean,
maybe.
Well, no, they dig up aliens, sorry. Ancient aliens.
This is sounding more and more like the History Channel, Dad.
Gotta do the hair like that meme guy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, basically, they're doing research, and it starts off with someone is hunting a dog and chases it into the Americans' camp, and they're like, hey, don't murder the dog.
Yeah.
And then spoiler alert, because, it's at the beginning of the movie, it turns out that it's infected with a parasite that is not giant, of this earth, but it was buried thing inside of ice. Yeah. And it passes easily to a lot of the people, and the movie is filled with gore, violence, and hey, I think you might be infected.
And mystery.
And lots of paranoia.
It's all about mystery if you can't pay attention.
But for those who are watching this in 2023 when we're recording it,
which means
for this 1982 movie, if you get mad about spoilers, then first of all, any movie, unless we give you an outright, oh my God, this is awful vibe right at the beginning,
41
go
years
watch it
ago?
first. Yeah,
So, it's your fault.
At this point, you should have seen this movie.
It's my fault I hadn't seen it until now. I knew everything about it already.
You do most of it because
I did.
You live in the world, and sometimes that
most
sinks
of the
in.
time I do, and then I'm sorry.
Anyway, why don't we roll the trailer and see what they show you?
Mayday. Anyone hear me? Over. This is U.S. Station 31. You read me? Found something in the ice. We need some help down here. Can anybody hear me? We found something. We found something. We found something.
12 men have just discovered something. For 100,000 years, it was buried in the snow and ice. Now it has found a place to live. Inside. Where no one can see it, or hear it, or feel it.
I know I'm human. Some of you are still human. This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open. If it takes us over, then it has no more enemies. Nobody left to kill it. And then it's won.
You guys gonna listen to Gary? He can beat one of those things!
Well, all
not a bad
right.
trailer. Gave away less than we did.
I mean, basically. Before we get into the behind the scenes, though, what we got to do is get paid. And here's how we gets paid. We find big corporations who want to sponsor us, and then we beg you to believe that their products are the best so that you will purchase them.
If I'm remembering correctly, this week it was actually trillions of wooden pennies.
Ah, yes. And honestly, we didn't have to reach out. This company, the first one, came to us because they know how we are in the winter.
Yeah, they do.
So why don't we tell you who's sponsoring this week's program? Gory Storytime is brought to you by Glacial Gear, the winter apparel company for those folks who insist on wearing shorts and a t-shirt even in sub-zero weather. Glacial Gear looks like regular summer wear, but it actually keeps you toasty warm in the most frigid of temperatures. From our thermo shirts and shorts to our electrically heated sneakers and baseball caps, Glacier Gear is guaranteed to keep you warm all winter. Glacial Gear. Look cool while feeling hot.
Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I just like my cold look, I'm down. And by Paranoid Pop, a selection of some of the best music in the last 50 years dedicated to being paranoid. Some of the tracks include I'll Be Watching You by The Police, Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell, Who Can It Be Now by Men at Work, and Out to Get Me by Guns N' Roses, and more. So, order your copy today on CD, LP, cassette, or 8-track. Not available on digital platforms because you don't want them to track you that easily, do you?
I do not. All right.
All right.
Now for, as Jason likes to call it, hold on, I gotta fix my seat. There we go. The meat and beef.
Or, as I like to call it, the meat and beef of the show.
So here's 20 random facts about the making of and etc. of this movie.
Yes.
Making of and etc. That was good.
And etc.
That was good work on my part, wasn't it?
Mostly the etc. part.
John Carpenter has stated that of all his films, this is his personal favorite.
It has become a tradition in British Antarctic research stations to watch The Thing as part of their midwinter feast and celebration held every June 21st.
It seems like watching a movie, that'd be like watching La Bamba on an airplane. No.
No.
Right? This film is considered a benchmark in special makeup effects. The effects were created by Rob Bottin, who was 22 when he started the project.
Wow. David Clemens' line, "You've got to be effing kidding," is Kurt Russell's favorite and never fails to make him crack up.
Now, I wrote it that way because I know he would have barreled through and said the actual word, and we're trying not to do that on this show. So
it's rated M, so you know.
It does actually say the word on the movie. It doesn't say effing, but you get the point. To give the illusion of icy Antarctic conditions, interior sets on the LA sound stages were refrigerated to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, it was over 100 degrees outside.
40 degrees is what they considered way too cold, and they had to bundle up.
It helped make it so that they could breathe and have it show in the air.
Oh. Because I'd be out there.
Anyway.
That way, in the t-shirt and shorts. Unused music composed for this film was later used by Ennio Morricone in Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight. Ironically, Morricone's Thing score was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Score, while his score for The Hateful Eight won him an Oscar.
Yeah, this was considered a flop when it came out.
I'm upset about, just all of that.
One day after shooting a scene with the flamethrower, Kurt Russell pulled a practical joke on John Carpenter by covering his face and head with bandages and claiming he had gotten burned. That's great.
When the dog wanders down a hallway and pauses outside a door, a shadow can be seen of one of the men beckoning it in. John Carpenter wanted it to be mysterious with which character was involved, so didn't use any of his actors to cast the shadow?
Yeah, so it was someone else's shadow, so you couldn't figure it out from that.
Oh.
The opening title attempts to replicate the appearance of the original Howard Hawks film, because this is a remake. To create the effect of the title, an animation cell with "The Thing" written on it was placed behind a smoke-filled fish tank, which was covered with a plastic garbage bag. The bag was ignited, creating the effect of the title burning onto the screen.
That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell took about a year to grow the famous beard and hair McGreedy Sports.
McGreedy Sports.
McGreedy.
That's his character. And sports means wears.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, well, you said it weird, and it sounded weird. Kurt Russell took a drag on a cigarette at the beginning of certain shots to make his breath more visible on camera.
John Carpenter was sold on making the film by the blood test scene. He was also adamant to create a monster movie where the creature wasn't obviously played by a man in a suit, something that had bothered him somewhat while watching Alien.
Yeah, because you could tell that the xenomorph was a skinny person in a suit the whole time. He was like, hey,
I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Like, it looks non-human except for, like, where the legs and arms would go. And the head just fits into the... Yeah. Anyway. In August of 2003, a couple of hardcore fans, Todd Cameron and Steve Crawford, ventured to the remote filming location in Stewart, British Columbia, and after 21 years... found remains of Outpost 31 and the Norwegian helicopter. The rotor blades from the chopper now belongs to Todd and the rest in his collection of memorabilia from the film.
Huh.
Yeah.
This is the first of John Carpenter's feature films which he did not score himself. The film's original choice of composer was Jerry Goldsmith, but he passed, and Ennio Morricone composed a very low-key Carpenter-like score filled with brooding, menacing bass chords. Bass chords.
Right.
Fish.
The film's budget of $15 million was larger than the average horror film of the time. Friday the 13th was a mere $700K, while John Carpenter's original Halloween had been a paltry $375,000K. Or
wow.
1,000. That is K. Yeah.
Yes. The sound effects in the autopsy scene on the split face thing was accomplished with paper towels soaked in egg yolk.
Kind of squishy. One of the Bush pilots used on the film offered to crash one of the helicopters for money. When McCready and Dr. Cooper go visit the Norwegian camp via helicopter, the Bush pilot actually turned the controls over to Kurt Russell once the chopper was off the ground. If you watch the shot, you can see the copter actually wobbles. That was when Russell was taking control.
Wow. Opened the same day as Ridley Scott's Blade Runner in 82. The similarities don't end there. Both movies met with unfavorable reactions by critics after the premiere, and they were beaten by the more positive and kind Steven Spielberg's E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the biggest hit of that year.
I mean, yeah.
The biggest hit for a few years, probably.
The Norwegian dog in the film was named Jed. He was a half-wolf, half-Malamute breed. Jed was an excellent animal actor. He never looked at the camera, the dolly, or the crew members. Jed, however, is not the dog seen in the beginning chase scene where the Norwegian is trying to shoot him. According to Carpenter on the commentary track, this was another dog painted to look like Jed.
Oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
The female voice on McGreedy's computer was performed uncredited by then-wife of John Carpenter,
Adrienne Barbeau.
That one.
I knew you were going to have a hard time with that name. Yes.
Rotten Tomatoes exists.
Yes. Rotten Tomatoes, they take all the critics' scores, like official critics that they accept. We are not them yet. I would love to be.
That'd be really cool.
We would need more people to watch. So share. Get people to watch.
Make even more bucket loads of money.
Then we could actually make any.
Any.
No? Any. I'm not putting that in quotes. Like, we've made $0 so far.
That's not possible.
Going on 9 years this year, and
swimming in my swimming pool full of wooden pennies. You can't tell me that.
Anywho, they just take all the positive reviews, all the negative reviews. They figure out how many reviews there are, and the percentage that they give is the percentage of positive. So if it's low, that's because it didn't do well. It's not because Rotten Tomatoes scored your movie that way. So many people get mad and they're like, Rotten Tomatoes said my movie was this. It's like, no, they didn't. The people did. They just reported it.
Right.
Or the critics did, not the people.
Right.
Aha. So, and they also let the people vote, and they have positive or negative.
Yeah.
So what did the critics say about The Thing?
84%.
Okay, and the people have it at a whopping 92%. And I say whopping because compared to 84,
that's 8 more.
Yeah. I won't say my thoughts on that yet because we have to...
I mean, it's just weird reading facts about how much of a flop it was and it was nominated for Razzies and all these... Everybody hated it. Everybody went to the theater and they just pooped on the seats and left. Like, nobody liked this movie.
I can't remember which one, but one of the guys from Siskel and Ebert... I think it was Roger Ebert, I think it said...
If I wanted to see this much gore and blood and disgusting violence, I'd just go to a slaughterhouse.
No, that was someone else, I think.
Oh.
But, I mean, a lot of people just totally dumped on this movie. They just did. Anyway, what was your... Because we liked this film, what was your least favorite part of this movie?
All right. Well, this stuck out immediately, but it was because I like dogs, and I didn't know at the time that the dog was a murdering dog with an alien inside of him. Okay.
So when the movie started,
so when it starts and these people,
see, he says he knew a lot about this movie, but he didn't know the dog that starts it off.
I didn't know about the dog. I didn't know about
which
the dog.
is a major thing.
But so the dog's running and they're shooting at the dog, and I'm mad because they're shooting at a dog.
They were.
And they crashed their helicopter and died.
And he was like, ha ha!
I was no longer unhappy.
Yeah, he was very pleased until he saw that one of them survived the crash because he came...
Hey, you get back there and die.
All right. I love that your least favorite part changed once you actually knew the context, but you still...
Like, I stand by it because I like dogs.
Well, you were mad at the time, and you're just going to stick with that. Fine. Let's see. My least favorite part was... I mean, I think some of the people acted in a way that didn't seem as realistic as to how they would have acted under those circumstances. That being said, I'm guessing that, and I'm making that up to have something, because who the hell knows how you would act if you found out that there was an alien parasite turning the people around you into killing monsters.
Wait a second. Are you saying that this sci-fi movie from 1982 didn't seem very realistic?
No, what I'm saying is I had to make up a reason to say I had a least favorite.
Ah.
Well.
Okay.
Let's be honest. Like, it's a pretty damn good movie. What was your favorite scene?
All right. So, simply because I probably almost pooped my pants. All right.
The hot wings
the blood
you were eating.
No. The blood test scene.
Okay.
Where, like, the whole time I'm expecting it not to do anything. I wholeheartedly believed that this was a setup, a ploy by the alien, knowing that it wasn't going to work.
Ah.
And then it jumped. And so did I.
Yeah, you did. All right. With me, I would have to say I liked the look of what it did to its victims. Like when the thing started like reaching out and opening its maw, and it was like,
oh yeah,
it was creepy. It was gory. It was. I just liked that.
Oh yeah,
look, the practical effects that
they
used. Because nowadays they would go straight CG,
and it wouldn't look as good.
And no, neither one of us has seen The Thing from, 2013 or whatever?
I don't remember.
2011? I don't know. It was in the 2010s.
Less than 20 years ago?
Yeah, and neither one of us has seen it. I know what it is.
We know how it ends.
We want to see it, but we haven't. We'll give it a chance, but it's one of those where I hate that it's got the same name because it's not a remake of it. It's another chapter.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they were selling it as one though. For
no,
like
they
the longest
they
time.
were purposely because of the twist at the end, which I'm not going to ruin here. They didn't want to answer.
But he's not going to
question.
ruin here, except at the beginning of the episode. Rewatch the beginning of the episode and tell him he's wrong.
I mean, no, I didn't say anything about the other movie. So no, I didn't.
You loyal watchers of this show, tell us
Both
down
of you,
below
no.
because I know what happened.
There's at least 3 or 4 people that watch.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, at least regularly.
Yeah.
And there's other local people that watch on and off. Depends on if it shows up in their
And these big bad
Facebook
boy
feed.
companies keep coming to us, so
Yeah,
they obviously
right.
watch them.
Oh, sure. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate The Thing?
Probably 8.5.
8.5.
8.5.
I mean, that's about what I was
Like,
going to
these
go with.
guys
So
got
I
it
think
right.
I think the critics' average equaled about right. I'm going to say 8.5 also. We don't always agree. We're usually a little apart, but yeah.
Like, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's worth rewatching.
Oh, yeah. There's a reason why I bought it.
But, like, there's also... There's enough that it's like, okay, I get it. The acting's a little weird
To be fair,
sometimes.
this is going to sound messed up. We had just gone through season 1 of The X-Files, he and I, and he had seen an episode here or there, but he hadn't really seen season 1 and in order. And they have an episode that is it's so much an homage that it's a remake.
It is. It's 100%.
Changed, I mean, they changed a couple
One
of
thing.
slight things. No, there was a couple.
The runtime.
And the
was
way
different.
you ended it, because they had an ending that was...
Oh,
very-
yeah, where the main characters of the show didn't all die.
Right. So I would say that. But, yeah. So he saw something that was just chock full of references to this movie.
And knew it.
Like, up to and including, there was a dog, there was,
Yeah.
like...
They had it
a
all.
research team. It wasn't Antarctica.
There weren't any Norwegians. It was Antarctica.
I thought it wasn't.
No, it was.
Oh, I thought you said
I remember you looked it up and proved me right about this because I said it was, yes.
For some reason, I thought...
Look that up, too. I'm right again.
I could have swore he's the one that told me it was actually the North Pole.
No.
Okay, I don't know. Whatever. What he said. Because he was Googling at the time. But anyway... So that's about it. Anything else you want to say about this movie?
Watch it. Go watch this movie.
Yeah, if you haven't seen this movie and you like horror movies and you like sci-fi movies, this is a good combination of both. It's got some suspense. John Carpenter's really good.
He's like...
I've liked most of the stuff I've seen of his.
The prince of suspense.
I mean, he's not the king.
Can't be. Can't be.
There's another guy that has that as his actual name, but...
Yes.
And it's Wes King Craven. No.
There's one above him, the master. But
you're talking about the guy who writes the books. Okay. Clive Barker. Anyway.
Was there a book of this?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I know it was based on an earlier 50s movie.
Okay.
And the guy didn't like it. But yeah, let's throw that stuff over to the side and we'll wrap up.
I will actually look. It says 1082, not 1074. So, you can watch this show on channel Fact TV, channel 1084. Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. And is that wrong again?
82.
I said that.
No, you said
1082. The thing that it says on your screen and not the thing I'm saying. All right.
280p. No.
1080p. Don't be dumb.
Then that's what I meant. Whatever. Just go.
Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m. You can watch this show on Fact TV.
You can also like us on Facebook. And like I say every week, when I say like us, I mean like Gory Storytime and Fact TV because they live stream a lot of stuff and there's a lot of content.
There is indeed. You can go to fact8.com and watch a bunch of back episodes of this as well as a bunch of the other pieces of entertainment that they have on this channel because they have a lot.
True. And you can follow us on the Twitter. And by that I mean you can follow me at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase, and...
Me at Jiggly Firmbrain. I am only a Twitter bot that uses
no
words that other people say, other people being him, and only
he quotes me
that I think that he is funny about.
And in or out of context, whatever works best.
What is funniest?
Check out the YouTube channel. Type in Gory Storytime. You'll come up with two things. It'll come up with my channel, Gory Storytime, and it'll also come up with Fact TV's channel. Like, subscribe, smash the notification bells, all those things for those, both of them, because again, it just helps.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Until next week with our second of 4 sci-fi horror movies
last night.
Yeah.
So we're already ready.
I've been your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig. And sweet dreams.